Breaking news. Today is January 24th, 2026, and we have a major development. The VBAD drone, the one that's been watching from the shadows, well, it has just grown claws.
And that's putting it lightly.
Yeah.
This isn't just a minor upgrade. Shield AI just announced a deal to arm these vertical takeoff drones with laser-guided missiles.
It's a massive, game-changing development. This deal with South Korea's LI Next 1 turns a surveillance drone into a hunter-killer.
And look, these drones have been secretly tested in Ukraine for over a year now, so the question on everyone's mind is pretty obvious, right?
Is Ukraine about to get a fleet of autonomous, unjammable assassins?
It's starting to look that way.
It really is. Before we dive deep, just a quick reminder for everyone listening. Well, subscribe to Defense Reports. It's your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alex.
And I'm Aria.
Join me with Aria in the latest podcast by Defense Report for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today, we are covering the transformation of the VBT. It's gone from a spotter to a striker, and we're going to unpack what this means for that electronic warfare nightmare on the Ukrainian front lines.
Yeah, this goes way beyond just, strapping a bomb to a drone. We're talking about a machine that flew 100 kilometers behind Russian lines.
While being blasted by 7 different jammers. 7.
We'll get into the hive mind AI that lets it see even when GPS is totally blacked out.
And we'll look at the secret trials. They started way back in June 2024, and one of them led directly to the destruction of a Russian BUK missile system.
Plus, we have to talk about that huge shift in U.S. export policy from late last year. It might just be what opens the floodgates for these exact weapons to finally get to Ukraine.
It's a fascinating mix of tech and policy. So, okay, let's start with the hardware itself. When we say VBB, I think a lot of people just picture a normal quadcopter.
Right, or like a mini Predator drone. But it's not that at all.
It's weird, in a good way.
It is. It's what engineers call a tail sitter. So you have to imagine a fuselage, maybe 8 or 9 feet long, and it stands straight up on its tail, like a rocket.
It doesn't have wheels or landing gear in that sense. It has a ducted fan at the bottom.
Exactly. And that ducted fan is key. It's not an open rotor like on a helicopter, where if you bump into a wall, it's a total catastrophe.
It's shrouded, it's safer.
Safer, yes. But it's really about aerodynamics. It takes off vertically, just straight up. Then once it's high enough, the whole aircraft it tips over 90 degrees and flies horizontally like a normal plane.
So you get the best of both worlds. Vertical takeoff like a chopper, so no runway.
But you get the endurance and the range of a fixed-wing aircraft. That's the critical piece.
And the launch area it needs is tiny.
About 4 by 4 meters. I mean, that's the bed of a pickup truck or a small clearing in the woods.
The very definition of shoot and scoot. You're not tied to a big concrete airstrip that the Russians can just target and bomb.
Right. And the new 5.3 model, what's really interesting is the fuel. It's not electric.
No, it's a heavy fuel engine. It uses JP5 or JP8.
Which, for anyone listening who isn't military, that's just standard jet fuel.
A huge logistical win. If you're on a forward operating base in Ukraine, you want to use the same stuff you put in your tanks and your helicopters.
It simplifies the supply chain so much. And that fuel is what gives it that insane endurance. We're talking 13 plus hours in the air. It can just stay up there and watch all day.
But the big news today from that UMAX exhibition in Abu Dhabi is that it's not just watching anymore.
That's the headline. Shield AI has partnered with LIG Next 1. They're a massive South Korean defense company, and they make the LMDM.
The laser-guided missile for drones.
This is a lightweight, very precise weapon made for this exact class of drone. The VBA can carry 2, maybe even 4 of them.
And it's not just the Korean missiles, right? I saw they're also integrating Northrop Grumman's Hatchet munition.
The Hatchet is just incredible engineering. It's a tiny 6-pound weapon. So now you have this modular platform. You need a heavier Korean missile for a tank, fine. You need a tiny munition for a sniper team. You can do that too.
This feels like a huge moment. Until today, the VBAT was strictly ISR intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. It was the eyes.
And now it's the fist. It closes the kill chain.
But to really get why that is so vital for Ukraine, we have to look at where this thing was tested. This wasn't some sterile lab in California.
Not at all. It earned its stripes in the Donbass.
And this is the part of the story that just blows me away. We've got confirmation now. VBDETs went to Ukraine for secret testing back in June 2024.
And they threw it right into the deep end, into what the soldiers there call electronic warfare hell.
It's a good description. The Russian military is probably the best in the world at EW. They have systems like the Zytel, the Pol-21.
And they just blast the airwaves. For a normal drone, even some military-grade ones, that's a death sentence.
Because it cuts the link, right?
Yeah.
The pilot can't control it, and the drone loses its GPS signal. It's blind.
And it just drifts away or crashes. The Russians count on this. They create these bubbles where smart weapons become dumb.
But the VBAT didn't drift away.
No. And the reason for that is one word: hive mind.
We hear AI thrown around for everything now, but this seems like a real legitimate application. So what happens when the GPS goes dark? How does it work?
Well, think about how you navigate as a person. If I drop you in a city, and I take your phone away, you don't just freeze up.
Right, you look around, you see landmarks, a tall building, a river.
Exactly. You triangulate visually. Hive mind does the same thing. It's called visual odometry. The AI is constantly scanning the ground, the roads, the buildings, the tree lines, and it's building a 3D map in real time.
And comparing that to a map it already has stored on its hard drive.
It's matching the scene. It knows exactly where it is based purely on what it sees.
Which means it's unjammable. You can jam a radio frequency, but you can't jam the ground itself.
Precisely. And we have a combat story from August 2024 that proves it. A VBAT flew deep. We're talking 100 kilometers, 60 miles behind Russian lines.
That's deep. That's where they park their high-value stuff.
They thought they were safe. During that flight, the drone was being hit by jamming from 7 different Russian EW systems.
7.
Any other drone would have just fallen out of the sky.
And it just kept flying its mission.
It kept loitering. And because it was the only thing that could stay in the air, it found a massive prize. A Russian Bouquet M1 surface-to-air missile system.
Oh, the irony. A drone that's immune to jamming finds the very thing designed to shoot down aircraft.
The hunter became the hunted. The VBAT relayed the targeting data to a HIMARS unit, the HIMARS fired, and the BUK was destroyed.
That's a huge strategic win.
Yeah.
But there's still a delay there. The drone found the target, but it had to call in a friend, the HIMARS, to do the job.
And that takes time. The kill chain. You find it, you verify it, you radio the coordinates, the artillery crew has to set up. That can take 10, 20 minutes.
And in that time, a mobile target is gone. They know they have to move.
They're constantly moving. But just imagine if that VBAT back in 2024 had been carrying these LMDM missiles we're talking about today.
Their reaction time drops to 0.
Near 0. See it, shoot it. It wouldn't have needed the HIMARS. It could have taken out the radar on that BUK system itself instantly.
That completely changes the tempo, doesn't it? It denies the Russians any sanctuary, even under their own EW bubble.
Absolutely. And there's another piece to this, which goes back to the vertical takeoff. Runways are a massive liability in this war.
They're just giant bullseyes, missile sponges.
Russia hits them constantly. So if you need a runway for your drone, you are tied to a fixed location the enemy already has coordinates for.
But with VBAT, you can launch from anywhere. 2 guys in an SUV pull into the woods, set it up for 20 minutes, launch it, and they're gone before it even reaches altitude.
It's almost impossible to suppress. And Shield AI is all in on this. They opened an office in Kyiv.
They're training the new unmanned systems forces, right? That's a whole new branch of the Ukrainian military.
First of its kind in the world.
Right.
So they are on the ground, getting what the company calls legitimacy on the battlefield. If this tech works in Ukraine, it'll work anywhere.
Okay, so the tech works, the strategy is sound. Now for the boring part, that's actually the most important, the bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Can they actually send the armed version?
If you asked me that a year ago, I'd have said it was a long shot. But things changed pretty dramatically in late 2025.
The Hegseth directive at the State Department.
It was a massive policy shift. For decades, drones like this were treated like cruise missiles under something called the MTCR.
Missile Technology Control Regime.
Right. And there was a presumption of denial. Basically, the default answer from the U.S. government was no.
Because they were worried about the tech getting into the wrong hands.
Exactly. But they finally realized that by blocking American drones, they were just handing the global market to China. So they changed the rules. Now, these drones are reviewed more like fighter jets.
So the red tape has been cut.
Significantly. The goal is literally to unleash American drone dominance. But there is one wrinkle here.
The South Korean missiles.
Yep. Seoul has been very, very careful about sending lethal aid directly to Ukraine.
They don't want to provoke Russia.
That's the complication. But there are workarounds. Shield AI is already talking about finding Ukrainian partners to manufacture munitions locally.
So the VBAP is American, but the missile it fires is made in Ukraine.
That's one way. The other is through NATO allies. The Netherlands already bought V-Bays, so they could buy the whole system, missiles and all, and then provide it to Ukraine through the Ramstein group.
It's a bit of a diplomatic shell game, but the result is the weapons get to the front line.
Which is all that matters. But, we have to talk about the other side. Russia is not sitting still.
The AI arms race is on. I've seen these reports about them using Starlink terminals illicitly.
It's disturbing. They're buying them through third countries, smuggling them in, and using them on their BM-35 and Molniya-2 drones for high bandwidth video that's really hard to jam.
And they're trying to build their own autonomy with Western chips. NVIDIA.
Yes, they are trying to copy exactly what HiveMind does. They want their drones to hunt autonomously. Their main targets, Patriot batteries and HIMARS launchers. It's a hunter-killer contest.
This is where that VBAT team concept comes in. This isn't one pilot, one drone anymore.
This is the force multiplier. HiveMind allows for swarming. One operator can control a team of VBATs. They share data. If one drone sees a threat, they all instantly know.
So one could be a decoy, another is the spotter, and a third takes the shot.
Exactly. Or you could cover a massive area, like 30,000 square miles, with just a few operators. To counter Russia's mass, their sheer numbers, you need your own kind of mass. You need one pilot running 10 drones.
That's the only way to scale. And looking at the broader context, today is January 24, 2026. There are peace talks happening, but missiles are still flying.
The fighting hasn't stopped. We saw KH-22s and Zircons hitting Ukraine just this morning. This tech race is what determines negotiating power. If Ukraine can show they can strike deep, autonomously, that strengthens their hand at the table.
It forces Russia to realize they can't just wait this out.
It changes the entire calculus of the war.
So, to wrap this up, the VB-8 started as a weird-looking drone for the Navy. It went to Ukraine, survived the worst EW environment on the planet, and proved it could see when everything else was blind.
And now, as of today, it's getting armed. It's evolving from a spy to an assassin. It solves the biggest problem in this war, that lag time between finding a target and hitting it.
The era of the remotely piloted drone, the guy with a joystick, that's ending. We're watching the sunset on that right now.
We are absolutely entering the era of the autonomous AI wingman. These machines decide for themselves how to fly, how to navigate, and now they carry the weapons to finish the job. Ukraine is the proving ground for the next decade of war.
So here's a final thought for everyone listening. We've talked about how HiveMind lets these drones operate with no human communication. They're out there, deep behind enemy lines, making decisions on their own. Now we're giving them missiles. When that kill chain becomes instantaneous, how comfortable are we with the amount of autonomy we're handing over to the machine?
That is the question of the century. But I think for a country fighting for its survival, Ukraine's answer is pretty simple. We'll take whatever works.
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Aria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.